In the hills of southern Malawi, where the soil blushes red and the papaya trees lean lazily in the sun, there sat the village of Matawi, a place so small that its goats had names and its ants had favorite trails across cooking stones. Matawi was the kind of place where morning greetings took 15 minutes, and everybody knew who had planted what and when. But above all, they all agreed on one thing. Nobody knew more than Mama Zalika. Mama Zalika, the whispering basket weaver. Mama Zalika had been a widow for longer than most in Matawi had been alive. She lived in a round mud brick home with a blue door that creaked with charm. On the porch hung woven baskets in every shape, flat ones for drying cassava, deep ones for carrying millet, and secret ones, so people said, for carrying conversations. No one ever saw her leave the village. She never gossiped loudly or questioned people directly, yet somehow, she knew everything. Who was pretending to farm and really just napping under the mango trees? Who was sweet on whom? Who burned the rice and blamed the wind? Who had hidden a chicken for a midnight meal? They didn't fear her. They loved her. But also, they watched what they said when she was weaving. The secret gathering basket. It was said Mama Zalika had one particular basket, a small shallow one with faded blue patterns. She always kept it near her as she sat beneath the baobab tree in the village center, weaving and humming. Whenever someone walked by, they couldn't help but pause and talk. Sometimes about their goats, sometimes about a strange dream, sometimes about someone else's odd behavior. She would nod, smile, say little. The next thing you knew, a mysterious solution would appear in the village. The two brothers who had fought over boundary stones would suddenly remember a childhood song and laugh together. The shy teacher's daughter, who feared no one would come to her dance performance, would find her crowd doubled, many pretending they just happened to be passing by. The village's only donkey, who kept disappearing at dusk, was found with a trail of baobab leaves leading back home, no questions asked. No one was ever scolded or shamed, yet everyone started making better choices. The curious children and the chai test. One day, a group of clever children decided to test Mama Zalika. They whispered among themselves, "Let's tell her different stories and see what happens. Maybe she makes her guesses by accident." So one by one, they approached her that morning while she was weaving her signature millet basket. "Mama Zalika, I saw Mansa the blacksmith sneaking toward the hills last night." She smiled. "Did the hills look sleepy?" "Child mama, I heard Asha's chicken speaks in riddles." She chuckled. "Ah, then it's a wise chicken." "Mama, I think the river is hiding treasure." She leaned in. "It always has. Just ask your feet." The children left more confused than before, but later that evening, they found Mansa had built a hidden bench on the hill for stargazing. Asha's chicken had started laying eggs only when sung to, and Child Three's grandfather shared an old tale of gold panned in that very river years ago. "She doesn't hear secrets," one child whispered. "She hears what we don't know," we're saying. The market incident that made her famous one market day, a traveling merchant from Lilongwe arrived. He laughed loudly and asked, what could an old widow in a mud hut know about anything important? He was selling spices, claiming they were magical and would cure tired feet and bad luck. Mama Zalika bought none, but invited him for tea. He accepted, certain he'd out-talk the old woman. She said little, only asking about his journey, where he'd stopped, who had helped him, whether he liked rainy roads. The next morning, he left quietly. He returned weeks later, bringing not spices, but hand-carved stools, a thank-you gift, and stories from a dozen villages. "She told me one thing that changed everything," he told the market crowd. But it sounded like nothing at the time. They never found out what she said. The village's best-kept open secret in time, Matawi grew. The roads became smoother, visitors more frequent. But Mama Zalika remained. Even as her hair turned silver like moonlight on the river, Her wisdom didn't fade. If anything, it grew deeper. She taught young women how to weave stories into baskets. She taught the boys that listening was braver than shouting. She taught farmers that plants respond better to laughter than complaints. She never wrote a book, but everyone in Matawi quoted her. A lie sits on the tongue, but a truth dances in the eyes. If you carry your neighbor's trouble, yours feels lighter. Some secrets aren't meant to be kept, they're meant to be listened to. These secret of her secrets. One day, a new teacher asked her directly, "Mama Zalika, how do you know everything without people telling you?" She smiled, handed the teacher a half-woven basket, and said, "When people speak, they share words. But when they exist around you, how they move, breathe, pause, or laugh, they share the whole story. Secrets are never really hidden. They just wait for someone patient enough to see them unfolding." A living archive. Today, in Matawi, there's a tiny woven symbol on every house, a blue circle with 3 lines. It's called the Zalika stitch. It means, we listen before we speak. We notice before we judge. We carry secrets not to expose them, but to protect the hearts they live in. And Mama Zalika? She still sits beneath the baobab tree every morning, her hands weaving, her ears open, her smile ready. The basket may be empty, but the village is full.